Now, Zoomlion Ghana Limited responds to accusations by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly over a lack of consultation and transparency regarding the government's COVID-19 era fumigation contract awarded to the Waste Management Company. And our Minister for Environment, Science and Technology reaffirms government's decision to amend LI 2462, which permits mining in forest reserves, rejecting growing calls for a total repeal of the legislation. And now, coming up on a Business Edge, we bring you an exclusive interview with the Director General of Securities and Exchange Commission as he outlines the Commission's strategic direction and regulatory priorities. This and many other more coming your way in 30 minutes. Do stay. We'll be right back. And now we are live on Facebook. It's Good Afternoon Ghana on Facebook. Now, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly has raised concerns over the government's contract with a just one group of companies for fumigation exercise. The AMA states that most of the contracts are signed without inputs from key actors from the Assembly. The AMA notes that it lacks field evidence to support reports submitted by fumigation exercise by the waste management firm Zoomlion Ghana Limited. The Director of Public Health at the AMA, Florence Cookie, raised this concern during an interaction with members of the Sanitation and Water Resources Committee of Parliament and called for a review of the contract. No, Reverend. So now we want to speak to Reverend Ebenezer of the Zoomlion to find out how things are going so far with the communique served by the AMA. You are live on Good Afternoon Ghana.
Good afternoon, sir.
Right, so speak to us. Can you confirm if what the Accra Metropolitan Assembly is saying about these contracts is true?
Thank you very much. And good afternoon to your listeners and your viewers.
Rep, can you turn on your video, please? We cannot see you from here. Can you turn on your video?
The assertion by AME that there is no transparency in the contract is not true. It's misleading in the sense that a contract is between the just one group of company and also between the Zoomlion.
Right.
We have two people that sign on behalf of Zoomlion. Another two people that also sign on behalf of AMA or any other MFDA. It is not we who will determine who should be allowed to sign the contract.
Right.
After we have completed our portion, it is being taken to the Assembly. And it is Assembly that do their due diligence. Then they go ahead and who is representing them, they sign on their behalf. Zoomlion or Just One do not have control over who should sign. So the crying of a Director of Environment is misleading in the sense that he must find out from the AMA who signed the contract on our behalf. He's not the only person in the Assembly. We have coordinating directors and other senior members or her colleagues who also represent the AMA. So if you have any doubt, we have a copy of the contract. They also have a copy of their contract. And the contract was not signed in secrecy. It was signed at the District Assembly, of which their representatives signed. So if you have any doubt, it's a matter of doing due diligence with the AMA in which she finds herself, and then find out what is our copy of the contract, what are the terms and conditions, because we have been working with her and the other AMA in a cordial manner.
Right.
We have not hidden anything from them. The terms of contract, the scope of work, everything that we, as a corporate institution, or
Rev, are you there? Rev, so we were speaking to Reverend regarding the communique served by the AMA about probing deeper concerning fumigation. Oh, I'm told Reverend is back. Rev, are you there? Can you hear me?
Pardon me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, please speak up. I didn't hear you.
You went off. You were back online. Is it clear now? Can you hear us?
Yeah, it's clear now.
Right. So what I wanted to ask you is this. What is the fraternity doing about it? What are you doing about it? There is a knock on your door. So one will ask that, what is the fraternity doing about it in order to clear the fraternity's name?
Yes, that's what I'm talking to you. You have called me and I'm explaining the procedure, that there is no fishy deal with this one.
Right.
The contract signing has been transparent. Their end have signed. We have also signed. It is not today. Even though if there are any issue they want to raise, other districts, they can raise, they write an addendum that we want you to add A, B, C, D, which we have accepted and work with it. So our doors are not closed. The director knew that we are in good terms. Whenever they knock at our doors, we open, we work, we have collaborated together, not today, for years, almost 15 years and above. So it is not today that we want to wash our clothes outside the purview that no one. What they were talking about, we were not having preview on that meeting. They are talking about not transparent. You have a copy, I also have a copy.
Right.
You sign. You can read from it. If you need even a copy from me, I can still give it to you, even though you may have a copy at your destination. So for you to say that it is being done not in the transparent manner is misleading. I must be frank with you.
Right, Doc. It's loud and clear. So now we understand from your quarters and also your office that it is not fair enough for the administration or the corporate organization to be served that notice. But like you said, definitely you are also going to look into it, and we are hoping that we can restore calm in order to know how possible Zoomlion can go ahead with whatever that they are doing. We were speaking to Reverend Dr. Kwame Adair. He is the head of Vector Control Service at Zoomlion, Ghana. Now we are moving on to do some other stories. The government has announced plans to revive the National Sanitation Initiative with an official launch scheduled for May 3rd, 2025. The Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Ahmed Ibrahim, made this known when he engaged with leadership of the Christian Council of Ghana on the ministry's plans towards reintroduction of the National Sanitation Day. The engagement forms part of a broader consultation being held with faith-based organizations to galvanize national support and community participation for the success of the initiative.
If cleanliness is not godliness, the repentance, sanitation, we must repent in terms of our personal hygiene as well. And I believe that on that day, when we meet the Father, He'll be happy with us that we implemented this methodology. As for my church, the Pentecostals, we believe in Romans chapter 13. And that's why the hierarchy of authority is respected. Because every authority is established by God. And therefore, as we are here, we respect the authority. And we strongly believe that whatever orders and messages we give, we the members will carry. Even be a minister myself, and I go to church, I listen to my pastor, and I take whatever he says as God speaking to me through him. So I believe Ghanaians will listen to you. And if you take it, it's not going to be like a government introducing the death of his party something. But the cholera, when it came, it didn't discriminate. We lost 49 Ghanaians. 581 people were affected by cholera from 2024 to this.
But the rest of the days after 3rd of May, are we going to wait for the next first Saturday of the month before whatever is left at the edge of the drains, whatever is left gathered in the communities, will be carted away to where they're supposed to be. So there should be some continuous process on the parts of government, assemblies, and all those things to make sure that when this garbage and so on are collected, they are moved to where they're supposed to be and disposed of finally appropriately. Otherwise, these things will be collected, gathered, before you realize.
And now the NDC MP for Tamale Central, who doubles as Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, has maintained that the government is committed to the Galamsey fight. According to the minister, the current administration does not back the wholesale repeal of LI 2462, which allows mining in forest reserves, but there are talks to revoke the president's authority to grant mining license in forest reserve.
This a major, subject for discussion. It was not just the entire law. It was about the permission that the president had the discretion to permit people to mine in forest areas. If you look at the entire law,
but it is a law that was permitting people to do it illegally. On the pretext of prospecting.
I am coming. We never said the entire law was bad. We never said that. What we said was the aspect to ask the minister for lands to give permission to certain entities to mine in forest reserve areas. That was the bone of contention. So I'm saying that if we say that we are going to repeal, and all the discussions and debate was centered on the aspects of the permission to mine in forest areas, and we say that we are amending that particular clause, it's a fulfillment of the promise we made. Look, let me tell you one thing. I have had discussions with people who have also raised some concerns. There are aspects of the law, particularly if you take the EPA law, for example, that is so good. That gives the EPA more power to bite. In fact, if you look at the new EPA law, that indeed now requires that the EPA permit should be a permit, as a condition precedent, that for you to go in for any permit, you should have the EPA permit first. Is that not it? So I'm saying that there are aspects of the law that are good. So you don't just come and say that we will take everything out. There were some discussions. And the argument which was the stronger argument was that, look, the reason why we are discussing this issue was because a permission was given to the president so that the authority, the president would have the discretion to permit anybody to mine in forest areas. Now, if you want to take care of that mischief, now let's just amend that aspect. Of course, there are some issues that people are raising now. And I'm saying that as a listening government, we are more than willing to listen. We could have taken it out and come out with another law. And I can bet my last penny. If we had come out with another law, and maybe within 3, 4, 5 months, someone would have said, no, there is a defect of this law. No law can be perfect. But the most important thing is that what generated the debate, the concern, the civil society organization condemned the action, was the fact that the president indeed took some powers to permit people, and everybody knew at that time, it was to permit a particular company to mine in forest reserve area. And that's precisely what we've done.
I have to go.
Well, now, the Tamale Central MP also bemoaned the growing trend of drug abuse among the youth in Tamale. Metro Policy cautioned drug peddlers against the practice, which is impacting the health and economic well-being of the youth in the area, and urged the newly confirmed mayor to crack down on the menace.
And I am on record to have said, even in Tamale, that even if those who will refuse to vote me because of my strong position against drug use and the support of volunteer groups, young people in Tamale who felt that there was the need for them to work with the security agencies to stop this menace, I supported them publicly, and I didn't care the political consequences of it, because it's a moral duty and a responsibility. In fact, it's a religious duty for me as a Muslim to stand in support of those who were fighting against that. And so that is a major challenge that he will be meeting, and also discipline. Look, I'm
sure he must have some collaborations with, for example, the youth minister, youth and development minister has launched a program against the use of Tamale and drug abuse and so on and so forth. I am happy about that. Yeah, it is. We spoke to him here, and then he gave some data and details about how it is affecting our, not just the youth, but the entire economy, because the youth who will get to work are the people who are engaging in these drug abuse. And
you see, I once said that if we think that it's a fight that should be limited to a certain group of persons, and someone may think that because his children are indeed raised in an enclosed setting, they are not exposed to such that, and you think that you don't need to participate in this fight, someone will take that drug, see your child, and stab your child to death. And so everybody has a responsibility. And those who are engaged in it, and to be very honest, and I want to speak directly to those who are engaged in it in the form of business in Tamale, wallahi, it's a major sin that they are committing. It's just as someone who sells alcohol to people or someone who sells cocaine to people, because you are making out of it, but you should be reminded that it has health implications, consequences on the lives of people who may not be your children. So the sin that one will get, you know, we Muslims, we abhor alcohol. The sin a person would commit for selling alcohol or drinking alcohol is the same sin, and if not worse, of someone who sells tramor as a business to make money. You can do that and build those number of houses, but Allah will judge. And I think that we all have a duty and a responsibility
to make sure that we resolve, we fight the abuse of
challenge.
Right.
And now, staying on drug abuse, the paramount chief of Penyi Traditional Area, Togbi Dachi V, has advised the newly confirmed Ketu North Municipal Chief Executive Reverend Martin Amaneki to collaborate with the security agencies in the municipality to combat drug abuse among the youth. The Reverend Chief made these remarks during a courtesy call by the Ketu North Municipal Chief Executive.
On his first day in office, the Municipal Chief Executive for Ketu North initiated courtesy calls on the traditional rulers in the municipality to express gratitude for their support during the selection process and confirmation. The engagement, led by the Municipal Coordinating Director, also aimed to seek advice and input from the traditional authorities as he begins implementing the government's policies. The Paramount Chief of the Penyi Traditional Area was the first to be visited. He urged the MCE to work closely with security agencies and other stakeholders to combat drug abuse among the youth in the municipality.
My advice to my MCE is that, having been appointed and a chairman of Municipal Security Council, we are pleading with him to work closely with them so that we can minimize that behavior among the youth today, so that our future leaders will not be wiped away.
The MCE acknowledged the challenge and committed to working diligently to addressing the issue.
For a future of our people, I think it's very necessary for us to organize ourselves, come up against this menace, fight against the drug abuse. So I've accepted the challenge thrown to me by the Togbiga, who call for community engagement meetings whereby we educate the youth about the effects of drug abuse.
In addition to tackling drug abuse, Reverend Martin Amenaki promised to collaborate with the Member of Parliament for the area to implement development projects, including repairing the existing roads in the municipality.
Our dear MP, Honorable Eric Adamagbana, also brought people from the Federal Roads Department. They came and inspected a number of federal roads in the municipality for reshaping, construction, and the bitumen. So it's one of our focus to see to it that all these things, dreams have come true.
And now the indigenous people in the Tiwa Enclave in the eastern region have undergone training to better negotiate for developments from mining entities in the locality. They argue that the current standard where entities just consult the local communities is not enough. Rather, as residents, they believe they must be given the opportunity to be active participants in a value chain.
Speaking to the media, the community members expressed worry about the extent of distraction caused by legal mining activities.
The gateway no adakroha. And the gateway no so eco forest no mo galamsey for no to asase no aseni nyina it won by any age say ye beye ama yakata ensase no nyina so na edue nnua no
ne je bebre say anopa mo be pie mu ha if say hwe yen sase galamsey for na bese na ahomete enti mabe ye de ni jeni ahom keka be hia na adwuma a mode abasa ye nyene ye besom ne yeduade nnua no nnua o matutu ase ne nyina ye be replace ne nyina
ye da mase bebre maboa ye ma mabibie ni woni ma bebre ho esan se wasase sei na obi so obeboa mo aye ni ya yedi anode ba wablabom se ne be ne enso ya setre mo be dwodwo.
According to Abu Karim, the Chief Executive Officer of Settle Ghana, a non-governmental organization that defends the rights of indigenous people, it is time to advocate and build the capacity of the local communities to lead the mining process. He pointed out that the current international standards demand local communities or the indigenous people to do their rehabilitation alongside the entities that are operating in the area, hence the move to build the capacity of the local people.
Ideally, ours is that we want local communities to lead in the what? In the rehabilitation process. And that's why we are here today, to build the local capacity of local people to be able to flag issues that may not conform to the standards that these companies are supposed to adhere to.
And now the minority caucus in Parliament has urged government to release funds from the contingency funds to support the rebuilding victims of the Edum Blue Light Market, which was gutted with fire last month, calling for an expedite action from government similar to what has done elsewhere in the region. The majority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, who led the delegation to commiserate with the fire victims, assured the traders that the minority would raise the matter on the floor of Parliament to catch the attention of government, as well as push for necessary support to help the traders rebuild their lives.
I take this opportunity to make a humble plea to the government of Ghana that, looking at the effects of the situation we find here, obviously the traders are suffering. We know the commitment government made in some other areas. We urge on government to take funds from the contingency fund and immediately and without delay come to the rescue of the suffering traders of Edum.
Atuenchemi SCA MPP 4 ya trese asantiman eda yakuma so Mijna akwanya iso na madamase. Se enfredu duo since 1992. Niamaya mayenu ya nisopa obibia mani nsam emani ho. Na donkuma ya wa parliament. Aya mati 88. A osahini Afenyo-Markin da ya nim. Ende na edru ya so. Na enye janu kwani ebehwe ya sabe damase mratinti maso yasne.
And now the mayor of Tamale, Abu Takoro, has promised to work collaboratively with other members of the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly to ensure that the developmental needs of the area are met. He made the pledge after he was duly confirmed as the Chief Executive Officer of the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly. President Mahama's nominee to the Tamale Metro Assembly as Chief Executive Officer was 100% endorsed by the Assembly members of Tamale Metro, securing 58 out of 58 votes of members present and voting. This brought to bear the trust and confidence members of the Assembly have in the nominee to carry on with the responsibilities of the Assembly on behalf of the President. The mayor thanked the Assembly members after he was sworn in, promising not to let the good people of Tamale Metropolitan area down.
Unflinching commitment to serving the people of Tamale without any reservation. I thank you for embracing and accepting me to work with you once again. I know I can count on you at all times to address the developmental challenges of our people.
The Northern Regional Minister, who was also part of the process, assured government's full support in meeting the developmental needs of the people.
I'm giving you that full assurance that you will not be disappointed. The President will ensure that whatever that is captured in our manifesto will be delivered. This has to be done when we have the metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives in place.
And now the former MP for Miao, Mohammed Abdul Aziz, acknowledges the recent utility tariff adjustment is unpleasant but necessary due to IMF agreement, he suggests, involving the private sector in power distribution, potentially improving efficiency. In contrast, Ishaq Ibrahim from the MP team believes blaming the IMF for tariff increments is irresponsible, arguing that the government should take responsibility.
We are told that the ECG had a plan to do procurement to the tune of less than 2 billion, but ended up doing procurements more than 8 billion Ghana cedis. Yeah. Obviously, you can tell what the motive would have been. Ghana is largely the public sector in Ghana is largely procurement driven, and sometimes you can tell the motivation for that appetite in procurement, and so we must be worried. We talked about commercial and technical losses. Those issues we must also be dealing with. But I think that for us to have a reliable and efficient and cost-effective tariffs, I think that what government intends to do is the best way for us to involve the private sector in the distribution of power. We must, you see, because it is state-owned, the attitude is not encouraging. But if we can get the private sector to be engaged with the metering, billing, and the collection of tariffs, I'm sure some efficiency would come into the system. And
they proud themselves as people who are on the side of the people. That is why they have cancelled those taxes. They celebrated it last week and 2 weeks ago. And the point I was making is that I agree with the cancellation of e-levy. We introduced it and we accept that it was a mistake. That was why it was in our manifesto that we were going to cancel it. But having said that, the same party that claimed they are on the side of people is going to bring about this increment in tariffs. So the point I'm just trying to make is that they should either communicate to the Ghanaian very clearly that we are doing this, so that people can actually do their own analysis. Whether cancel all this taxation and then making this increment in tariffs, are they better off or worse off? And if they are worse off, are they really the party that is working for the people? So this is what I want. But you can see that all their statements from him here this morning to their other communicators, the point is that this thing is binding on us because the previous administration have reached this agreement with the IMF that we have to be doing quarterly increment. That's not the best way to communicate.
Well, and that's it for the news update on Business Edge on Good Afternoon Ghana. We'll take a short break. Kwesi Free will handle the rest of the show. Do stay. We'll be right back.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson,
Me didn't tum. Mr. Femi Calico, just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Femi once now.
Hey, that's on you. Improve car. Yeah. Captain was key to double the action. Sasso spray, Mr. Femi Sasso quell. Yeah, go to my Sasso, come and tum preco.
Metro TV presents a new dating reality show.
Tell me, what's the favorite part of my body, and can you describe it with a word?
Table of Love.
Do you have what it takes to make it to the table of love?
My first heartbreak. Let me tell you. So I went somewhere to sit, and I met goats chewing grass. I sat right in front of the goat, and I asked it, have you ever felt heartbroken before?
Touching, romancing, you take me there, I take you there.
If you expect me to be an angel in your life, you must first create heaven for me. Angels don't live in hell.
Many girls will say touching when you kiss me on the forehead, please. For me, when money touches my palm, I become so wet.
Watch out for Cook Africa Season 2 coming to the Metro TV with Ahiniwa. This time around, we are coming with some surprises, prizes, and of course, it's Ghana Month. So watch out for some local delicacies on Cook Africa with your favorite Ahiniwa.
This Easter, we are live on the Ikepen Ridge, starting from OPK at Mampong through Ikropong to Edukrum. Join us for a Good Friday extravaganza at OPK Mampong, Superb Bar and Ofe Bar in Ikropong, and an epic Wache festival on Easter Sunday. But that's not all. The real party is on Saturday and Sunday when we wrap the season with a mouth-watering Ikepen Fufu at Abutechi, Latte Junction, and more. Don't miss out on the ultimate Easter experience on the Ridge, brought to you by Original TV, Original FM, and Metro TV. It is Easter on the Ikepen Bridge.
Right, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon live here on Business Edge on Good Afternoon Ghana. I am Kwesi Afri. We are coming your way live from our studios here at Rage in Accra. I've told you and I tell you every day that when you see me here this afternoon or every Tuesday or Thursday afternoon, then obviously we are here to talk about business. We are here to talk about the financial markets, talk about employment, talk about transport, talk about whatever is happening in the economic ecospace of the country. Today is a special day, and we're going to bring you a very interesting lineup. And we have an interview that I'm sure if you are in the financial setup, whether you are in the banking industry, insurance industry, brokerage industry, whichever industry you are still some way linked to the Securities and Exchange Commission. What we have done is to have a very detailed interview, very revealing one, with the Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Securities and Exchange Commission. He is a former Member of Parliament for the Ketu North constituency. He is also the former Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, Honorable James Kluche Aveji. And so, sitting with him, obviously, you know that we have a dose of items that we have discussed. And this afternoon, that's exactly what we are bringing your way. But before that, yesterday, Sami Jemfi is the Executive Director or the Chief Executive of PMMC. We want to be asking eventually whether PMMC is being phased out and Gold Board taking its place. So on the 11th of March, when the Finance Minister, Kisel Atuforsen, mounted the plenary in Parliament to announce or read the budget to the entire country, one of the key items was his announcement of the establishment of Gold Board through the PMMC in a bid to streamline the entire gold marketing and, of course, illegal mining here in our country. And so we'll be taking a detailed look at that eventually. But today, we are looking at a press statement which came out yesterday over the period. They've talked about the fact that Gold Board will be the national assayer, Gold Board will be the national marketer or the international marketer, and the only institution. We would say that it's a very good initiative, but its implementation is what we need to consider. The only institution to purchase gold from the Ghanaian market, local market, whether you are an international trader or you are a local player, once you are having your gold here in the country, you cannot sell it outside or you cannot sell it elsewhere unless you go through the Gold Board. We know that in the aluminium sector, GEADEC has been established, for example, to do things like that. GNPC does something like that in the oil industry. But for the gold, we don't have. What is going to be the relationship with Newmont's Ashanti Gold Mine and all of these big and huge institutions and those who refine here in the country? We want the opportunity to be asking all of these questions. So we're actually planning an interview with Sami Jemfi, who is the Chief Executive Officer himself. But for now, let's look at the press statement. We'll maybe have an interview with the industry players before we come to the interview with the Chief Executive Officer of the Securities and Exchange Commission. So I'll go through the statement which was put out yesterday. And of course, this is a video. Well, I'll read a bit of it to you. Places that we think we can touch on, we will. So to start with, they said it was on the letterhead of the Ghana Gold Board. You have seen their logos, you've seen some of their branding items and so on and so forth. So we've taken all of that and put bits and pieces here. Now, the general public is respectfully informed that pursuant to the Ghana Gold Board Act 1140, and remember that it was passed in the last sitting of Parliament. President Mahama has assented, so it is now an act, not a bill anymore. So Act 1140-2025 passed by Parliament on the 29th of March 2025 and assented to by the President of the Republic on 2nd April 2025. All licenses issued. Take note of these very important points that the press statement raises. And the issues about employment and unemployment and some people who are going to lose their jobs and so on and so forth, all of these will come up in our subsequent discussions. We'll look at it not today, but we'll have still some form of interview on that. So it says, all licenses issued by the Precious Minerals Marketing Company, PMMC, and or the minister responsible for mines to a person other than a large-scale mining company to deal in gold have ceased to be valid. Please go back. Don't move forward. Don't be in a rush to run away. Go back to the previous slide. So this point is a very initial point where everybody needs to pay particular attention to. It says that all licenses issued by the PMMC. So that's where our concern of is Gold Board replacing PMMC? Is PMMC going to be crushed entirely? Is it going to be a company no more? Or what exactly is going to happen? Because the Minister of Finance in his words was emphatic on the support he was going to give the Ghana Gold Board. And or the minister responsible for mines. We know that previously the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources and of course the minister responsible for mines will issue all of these licenses and they will be able to operate. What they have done usually, especially those in the mining sector and illegal mining sector, is to go to the lands and tell us that they are prospecting. Eventually we see that they end up mining. I will be asking whether this will be able to solve or resolve the issue of galamsey here in the country. Now all of these licenses have ceased to be valid. Let's move to the next point. Now, number 2 is that the Gold Board is currently the sole buyer, seller, assayer, and exporter of all gold produced by the licensed artisanal and small-scale mining ASM sector. And that's where we look at the employment issues also. So, as such, point number 3, no person other than the Ghana Gold Board is permitted to export ASM, and here ASM herein refers to the artisanal and small-scale mining sector. So whenever we mention ASM, please revert your mind to that. To export ASM gold from Ghana. Also, no person other than the Gold Board or a licensed buyer or aggregator or service provider of the Gold Board is permitted to purchase or deal in gold in the country. So you cannot, on your own, walk to any small-scale miner or medium-scale miner and say that you're going to buy gold and bring it to Gold Board. Let's move on. Number 4 says, however, to ensure a smooth transition and respect for existing contractual obligations. Take note that Sammy Jemfi is a legal practitioner himself. He's a lawyer, so he takes note of all of the legal issues that may crop up. And so this is a very important clause. It says, however, to ensure a smooth transition and respect for existing contractual obligations between licensed gold buyers and their off-takers, the Ghana Gold Board has resolved to allow for gold purchases and exports by persons holding appropriate licenses issued to them by the PMMC and all the minister responsible for mines until the 30th of April 2025. So until the end of this month, everybody that has some contractual agreement, maybe you have somebody who buys your gold from Switzerland or Dubai or Brazil or anywhere else in the world where they are interested in buying the gold bars, you still can be able to sell your gold to them until the end of this month. And when the end of this month elapses, the only way out is to go through Gold Board. Point number 5 says, for the time being, all licensed persons or entities buying gold from the local market must do so in Ghana cedis. And I like this point. And at a price calculated based on the Bank of Ghana reference rate published on the www.bog.gov.gh. Remember that if you go there now on the interbank exchange rate section of the Bank of Ghana's website, you would see how the forex rates are, how the cedi is performing against all the major currencies, whether it's a dollar, euro, pound selling, and so on and so forth. You would see the mid rates, how it's selling for, and how they are purchasing it for. And so, Sammy Jemfi and Gold Board are saying that to be able to deal in gold purchases and so on and so forth, and of course, you deal with them, you need to go to the Bank of Ghana's website, look at the interbank exchange rate, and come back to deal with them on that. All foreigners are hereby notified to exit the local gold trading market not later than 30th April 2025. A foreigner may, however, apply to the gold board to buy or offtake gold directly from the gold board. That's an important one too. But we have said that all of these, when we get him, we'll speak to him on that. Let me quickly go online, and I have some guests who are already who have already joined me online, and I'll speak to them briefly on that because we would have to still quickly rush to the interview we have with the Securities and Exchange Commission Chief Executive Officer. So, Seth Walashime Klae is a mining consultant and he's joined us online. Abdul Razak Al Hassan is a PRO, Small Scale Miners Association. And Seth, let me begin with you and ask whether you've seen the statement. And if you have, I usually say I don't want to ask what you make of it, but I mean, for the purposes of keeping our exchange rates, for the purposes of streamlining the gold mining industry, especially the local bit of it, the illegal mining in Galamsey, and for the purposes of all of the things that have been happening in the mining sector, is this the right way to go?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Seth, yes, if you can hear me, kindly unmute your... Yes, okay, you're right. So let's go on.
I have seen the press release, you know, spelling out the as it were, the rollout of the gold board activities after the president has assented to the bill and made it into a law. Yes, it is in the right direction, especially with the foreigners who have to exit by 30th of April. I think that is in the right direction. The only challenge I have is also asking license holders or giving an ultimatum to license holders that their licenses expire on the 30th of April as well. I think that in their case, they could give them a little more grace period because these are people who are already operating in the sector, and renewing their licenses should be a matter of course.
But they've been given the space to reapply to the gold board for new licensing and still to be able to streamline the process. And you say that you are happy with the way it is going. So obviously, in an attempt to streamline the process, they have to just get back to gold board and maybe renew, for want of a better word, their licenses.
Yeah, but what they are saying is that the portal for the renewal will be opened on the 22nd. On the 22nd of this month, and by 30th, which is just a 1 week window, they should have renewed their licenses. That is where I think I have a challenge. So they can look at it again. It's not late, but the 30th April deadline for foreigners operating in the sector to desist is in the right direction.
Is there a way to be able to, from where you said, to be able to streamline? I mean, the illegal mining, it's a menace in our country currently as we speak, and the destruction of rivers, river bodies, the destruction of livelihoods, the young people, the security issues, and so on and so forth. We have had cause to discuss all of them on separate platforms or separate premises. However, from the point where you said, would Gold Board be able to help streamline the activities of Galamsey?
The answer is an emphatic no, because these two activities are in their own category. You cannot. There's no way the gold board activities are going to impact the way people are mining irresponsibly and degrading the forest and polluting our river bodies, and also decimating our forest reserves. Mm-hmm. So there are two different kettles of fish, and they should be treated separately.
Can we
Galamsey and the impact on our environment is another story altogether.
But of course, can we?
So I don't see the gold board activities impacting it.
So you see, I have said that this is a question that I would put to the CEO when I have him. But BMW, the major other car makers, Fiat and so on and so forth, Benz, Mercedes-Benz, and all of the major car makers, they buy or purchase aluminium. They have an interest in where they source the raw bauxite. The aluminium companies, especially within Akau, source the raw bauxite from. And so when the bauxites are being mined illegally, they don't purchase from you. Whichever company purchases the bauxite from you and turns it into aluminium, they do not purchase from you. I mean, they have international standards operations which bars them from. Gold board could be doing something like that to be able to help streamline. So is there no way, or maybe it would rather promote by saying that we'll buy from everybody. So once you have gold, come to us, which means that lots more people will go into the Galamsey areas and be able to mine and bring their produce for purchase.
Yeah, you see, I like the way you frame this question, because responsible sourcing of raw materials for production has become the norm, and Ghana has been here before when they suspected that we were using child labor in gold extraction. That was in sometime around in 2016, and it took myself and the association to travel to Dubai and speak to a mining group, a mining conference that has all the major players there to allay their fears that such a thing was not happening. Mm-hmm. So I like the way you frame that part, because people are now concerned about how things they eat, or even where or whatever, how they are produced and from what type of labor activity that comes from. So to reiterate again, I don't think that the gold board activities, as it is captured in the law, is going to have any impact on illegal mining. If anything, like you said, it's rather going to embolden people to do the wrong thing, because they know that now there's a ready market for it, and they can come and register and sell.
All right, so Seth Wolashimi is a consultant. Thank you very much this afternoon. I'm sure we would rather get more of you and bring you into the studio for further discussions on all of these. I mean, from now through the 22nd to the 30th, we are expecting a lot of activities to be happening around Gold Board. That's when people begin to renew their licenses or get new licenses. And if you want to do gold trading, maybe we may want to, all of us who may want to go into that, we'll have to go to Gold Board or Samijanfi and get into that as well. So before I bring you that interview I had yesterday with the Honorable former Member of Parliament for Ketu North constituency, now the Chief Executive of the Securities and Exchange Commission, let's see how the currency, local currency, which is the Ghana cedi, is performing against the major foreign currencies like the dollar, the pound sterling, the CFA, and so on and so forth. So as of today, the US dollar is performing, is buying at 15.2 or 0.52 and selling for 15.52. So you may get the same price if you have a dollar and you went to the bank to exchange today. This is according to the Bank of Ghana quoted rates. And so you may have it differently a bit on the black market or maybe some other banks, but the regulation or the regulator says this is how it should cost. So when you get into any of the banks, this is what you should be looking at. The pound sterling is going for 22.43 and selling for 22.45. Those of you doing business in other parts of Europe, other than UK specifically, you are going to buy the euro for 17.52, and then it is being sold. Or if you have it and you're going to exchange it, that's how you're going to get it. And if you are selling it, you are going to buy it as it is being sold to you, you would be getting it for 17.63. Swiss francs, okay, also in Europe as well, you would get the francs for 19.04 and selling for 19.06. Because we do a lot of business with dear country Nigeria, and of course we have a lot of Nigerian people doing business here, Ghanaians also going into Nigeria. It's important that we bring you the Naira as well, and subsequently we will include the CFA and maybe the Chinese currency as well. So as of today, the Nigerian Naira is being bought for 102.69 and being sold for 103.97. So that's how the currency is trading on the market today, if you decide to do any business with any of these currencies, and how the city is performing against these major currencies. Right, so that's it. Then we are moving to the next segment, and I'll introduce to you what interview we had yesterday. We spoke about the financial markets. We spoke about strengthening the Securities and Exchange Commission. We spoke about how the financial sector cleanup some years back, 2018, 2019, impacted fund management companies, the exchange companies, and all of the financial companies that exist within the setup of the Securities and Exchange Commission. We know much about what happened within the banking sector, who fall under the Bank of Ghana and the microfinance institutions and so on and so forth, the MFIs. Yesterday, we had a specific interview with the former Member of Parliament for the K2 North constituency, who is also the former chairman for PAC, and his wealth of knowledge that he brings on board as the new Chief Executive Officer of SEC. Let's enjoy the interview.
Well, see, as you know, we are talking about the entire experience.
So we are still preparing the video. Forgive us for the hiccup, the little technical hitch. But I spoke to you early on what we are talking about. We have a lot of revelations, and he had the opportunity to talk about, should I say a banter? Not necessarily, but something between the Public Accounts Committee and the former Attorney General. And he ended up on his suggestion on how he feels that the entire Public Accounts Committee should look like. Not the setup itself, but the things that they engage in and the things that they work on. And it's agreeable that if the Auditor General gets into any state-owned enterprise, does the auditing, finds irregularities, brings it to the Public Accounts Committee, and they vet you, the Chief Executive Officers, or the senior officers, or whoever did the signing of the memo and did the implementation of whichever program it was, comes in to sit before the Public Accounts Committee, and you're able to explain to their understanding, fair enough. But if not, Where they end up is the naming and shaming, which is not really punitive enough. Of course, socially it is, because your children will be watching you, your family members will be watching you, they will know you are corrupt or fraudulent. However, what happens to you? So there are still a lot more people who would go about doing anything at all in the companies that they work for public, and because they know that it will end at naming and shaming, they don't do the needful. So this is the interview we had. We'll take a quick break. Forgive us. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, we'll play to you that interview.
If you say, yeah, your local spices, na ya Friday, ya sanko for natural spice.
Me de go me jollof fumu. Me misti wa huduma. Emanate dance.
Stanley, the barbecue they go on.
Sanko for natural spices. And one you use 100% natural. Said the happen.
Adofo, mamu ye huge mistake. Sanko for natural spices.
Whether you're a wholesaler, retailer, or consumer, MNC Logistics and Trading is your trusted partner in minerals and food commodities trading. Experience the difference with MNC Logistics and Trading for your commodities trading. We operate a well-equipped laboratory that smelts and assays gold to ensure transparent, credible, and reliable minerals transactions. Our general food commodity market deals with imports and exports of food products such as rice, sugar, and grains. We pride ourselves on delivering products that meet the highest standards of quality and taste. With our expertise in international trading and logistics, we bridge customers far and wide. Locate us at number 4 Neosai Interfo Avenue, East Legon, Accra. Call us on 030-299-8246 or visit our website www.mnclogisticsandtrading.com. MNC Logistics and Trading, hub of confidence.
I'm a brand manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Well, you see, as you know, we are talking about business. We are talking about Honorable, is the politics going to go down now, or how exactly is it going to be? So he's a former member of parliament for the K2 North constituency, and they did so much. If we have the opportunity, of course, this is business, but would allow him to speak a bit about K2 North as well. But currently, he is the head of the Securities and Exchange Commission. I'm sure that he has the wealth of knowledge, the wealth of experience to be able to turn the institution around. Why am I saying so? He's been the head of the... And we followed him. We reported from Parliament on all of the issues that he presided over and some of the things that are rearing its head currently in the political space, particularly with the economy. And so this morning we are happy to be in the office of the Honorable Cletus Avigi, and he's Honorable. Thank you very much.
James. You want to change my name, eh?
Oh, sorry, forgive me. Forgive me. But I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well.
All is well.
Yes.
So far, so good.
By the grace of God, I'm doing well.
And we are here at SEC now.
Yes.
What's happening?
We are resetting the economy.
Mm-hmm.
That is what's happening.
So far.
His Excellency, the President John Dramani Mahama, has been given the mandate to govern this country for the next 4 years. And we are to reset the economy. That is his agenda. So we are here also to reset. To reset doesn't mean you change everything completely. You can improve upon what
Dramani Mahama appoints him. And when I came in, my first question to him was, so, Honorable, is the politics going to go down now, or how exactly is it going to be? So he's a former member of parliament for the K2 North constituency, and they did so much. If we have the opportunity, of course, this is business, but would allow him to speak a bit about K2 North as well. But currently, he is the head of the Securities and Exchange Commission. I'm sure that he has the wealth of knowledge, the wealth of experience to be able to turn the institution around. Why am I saying so? He's been the head of the Public Accounts Committee for so long, and we followed him. We reported from Parliament on all of the issues that he presided over, and some of the things that are rearing its head currently in the political space, particularly with the economy. And so this morning we are happy to be in the office of the Honorable Cletus Avigi, and he's Honorable. Thank you very much.
James. You want to change my name, eh?
Oh, sorry, forgive me. Forgive me. But I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well.
All is well.
Yes.
So far, so good.
By the grace of God, I'm doing well.
And we are here at SEC now.
Yes.
What's happening?
We are resetting the economy. That is what's happening.
So far.
His Excellency, the President John Dramani Mahama, has been given the mandate to govern this country for the next 4 years. And we are to reset the economy. That is his agenda. So we are here also to reset. To reset doesn't mean you change everything completely. You can improve upon what currently is happening, or do a little bit of change of what is running. So they are all part of the resetting. So we are here.
But, I started by mentioning that, I mean, it looks as if the politics will go down now. How is it going to be? I mean, for all the things that you have done in the political space, and now that you are here, how does it feel like? What's it going to be?
I've been appointed by the president, who is a politician. I am also a politician, as you are aware. I just left Parliament after serving my people for 20 years. So the politics will not go down. The politics will still be there. Probably you will not see me again in Parliament debating on issues. You will not see me again chairing the Public Accounts Committee or any other committee. But you will see me differently in the public domain, where my role will completely be different from the role of a member of Parliament. So the politics is still in me. The politics will still continue in order to work for the interests of our people. How to ensure that the economy is good so that everybody can thrive and do his or her work. Those in the private sector, the economy should be good for them to also work. And then those in the public sector, whose mandate is to make the economy good, will also continue to work and ensure that Ghana, which is our beloved country, it's a safer and a better place for all of us to live.
So, for the purposes of the lay people that are watching us, you are here at the Securities and Exchange Commission now. Let me begin by asking, what exactly do you do? I mean, for those who in the financial market sector,
they are very well versed with what you do. But for the very other people, the layperson in the house watching you now, we know that public accounts, you're putting up all the questions, holding up institutions to account and so on and so forth. If we have time, we'll ask you a few about what happened there previously. But currently in the financial market, when we hear SEC, what exactly are we referring to?
Thank you very much. The Public Accounts Committee put up questions to ensure that people who are entrusted with public funds in positions use that fund, use that position for the interest of the people, that's the people of Ghana. I'm going to put it this way, for the people of Ghana. So in a way, we are actually ensuring that they comply with the financial laws of our country. Here at SEC, which is the Securities and Exchange Commission in Ghana, we are the organization that actually regulates the financial market. I'll come to what is the financial market. So our mandate under the Act, currently the Act that is governing the institution is the Securities Industry Act of 2016 at 929.
Right.
Now, the object of the commission, if I say commission, I'm referring to Securities and Exchange Commission. The object of the commission in that act is to regulate and promote the growth and development in a fair, efficient, fair, and transparent manner of the capital markets, where the investors in that market and then the market itself, they are protected. Now, what is the market? Here is not a market like Makola, where you go and buy it. Or it's not a market like Medina Market or whatever.
Right.
It is a place, not physical place, but it's where you can trade on securities. Securities here doesn't mean to be in a uniform like the Ghana Police Service, the military, or the fire, immigration, and co. Security in terms of investment. If you want to invest your money, the product in which you're investing that money is a security. So if I want to buy shares in company A, I'm doing business in the security industry. I'm buying securities. So where the sellers and then the buyers meet, not in person or not physically, to trade, to transact business in security, is what we call the market. Okay, so you want to buy treasury bill. You instruct your
bankers. Okay.
Probably you are saving money with a particular bank.
Right.
So you instruct the bank that buy treasury bill for me. You are dealing in securities. So where they are going to buy that treasury bill is the market. But it's not a fiscal space that they are going to sit down there and trade. So all those in that market, we regulate them. There are a number of operators in that market. Let me put it this way. We have people who manage your funds for you.
Okay.
They are fund managers.
Fund managers.
They are operators in the market. We have people who advise on what type of security that you can buy that can bring you good returns on your investment. They are also in that market. There are people who bring 2 or 3 people together to do that business, brokers. Like we have insurance brokers.
Yes, okay.
Here, brokers in securities. They are also in that market operating. There are people who take care of the investment for you, custodian, they take care of it. They are also in that business.
Right.
Okay? There are people to whose hands the funds have been entrusted, trustees. They are also in that market, doing the business. So all these people are the people that the commission, the Security and Industry, Securities and
Exchange Commission regulates.
We regulate them. Why do we regulate them? We are regulating them to ensure that the integrity of market is protected, so that nobody who is an operator in that industry misbehave, take people's money and squander it. Where when you're looking for your money, you can't get it. People doing that are tarnishing the image of the security market. So we have to regulate them. People who are managing funds, we need to regulate them. The investor's interest is important.
So I was going to ask you a question. That it means that everybody should necessarily rely on you. Everybody who has some amount of money, even 10,000 Ghana cedis, should be interested in what you do. And do people know what exactly you do, apart from those operators within the setup? Because if I have a 10,000 Ghana cedis and I want to walk up to Stanbic or GT Bank or Ghana Commercial Bank or CBG, I should be interested in what they do with the money, if I want them to buy a T-bill for me or whatever, and who regulates them. If tomorrow, for example, we have the financial sector cleanup, which affected lots of people. And so we'll come back to all of that. But do people know, and how do they resort to you in the operationalization or regulation of all of these setups, so that we know that, okay, maybe in the next 2 or 3 months I want to do this investment, but I am confident that because of SEC, I can just leave my money, and all of these people are registered under SEC, regulated under SEC, and so I have no fear or panic.
Now, if we want to allow people to come to our office, you know, we have a very small office.
We'll come to that as well.
Everybody to come here to seek advice will be overwhelmed with the requirement. That is why we have the advisors, people who advise on the type of investment you want to undertake. That is why we regulate that advisor. Assuming that you are the advisor, investment advisor, people should go to you for advice. You take a token as a fee, but we will ensure that the advice you are giving to those people will be a good advice, because we cannot receive over 34, 35 million Ghanaians who want to invest in our office. But we advise, we also encourage them to visit our website, because we have a number of fund managers who are there.
Who are certified by you.
Who are certified by us. They have our license.
Right. Okay. Licensed by you. Let me say so.
We regulate them. We supervise them. They submit their returns annually.
And we make sure they are in good standing, so that if I'm going to work with them...
We'll come to that. So if you want to go to do business with one of these people, probably just drop a note on our website and on our information site. I want K&Y Company Limited, who is a fund manager, to manage my 10,000 Ghana cedis for me. I want to know the health status of this company. We've been receiving some of those issues. They will say that this company is in good standing. There's no violation of our regulation, our laws, or guidelines. So you can go ahead and do business with them. Or, no, there are some challenges with this company. They are not doing well. And so if you do that, it's a risk you are taking. Don't forget that anyone who go to invest money is a risk that you are taking. Don't forget also that the higher the risk, the higher the returns. So people are lured by the returns that they are offered to go to that. For instance, you have 10,000, as you said. You want to go and invest money in a company. There are investment options available. Treasury bill, you want to buy shares in a company, all that. But there is this particular one who offer you that, if you give me that 10,000, I'll manage it for you. Every year, you get 90% return.
We had men's gold.
Exactly. So people are lured by these offers to go into wrong investment. So the risk there is very high, because the return is high. So it entices you to put your money there. But don't forget in your mind that because the return is very high, the risk
is also very high.
that money you're putting there, the 10,000, you might not get it back.
But Honorable, that's your responsibility as a commission, and that's why we shouldn't have cases like we had with Men's Gold.
Yes.
You should be able to make sure that these people or entities are regulated such that we, the citizens or the investors, are protected. And we still end up having Men's Gold.
We'll come to that, but probably I can even talk about it now.
Right.
You see, we operate in the market. Before you, a company, want to undertake a business of that nature, you have to come to SEC to apply for a license. If you do not come to SEC and you start operating, maybe initially we might not hear of it. So the early people will fall victim before we get to know.
Yes.
When we get to know, we have to stop it. So you realize that when Men's Gold thing started, later SEC came in and asked them to come and get license from
SEC, yes.
And before the Hula Balu came, and they were even initially contesting that they did not fall under the purview of
SEC. I remember that very well.
So that is the issue. That is why I said before you.
But Honorable, not to berate your previous your predecessor. Do you think he did a good work? I mean, Men's Gold was all over in the system, doing lots of adverts, and so obviously the commission must have heard of him and should have stopped him earlier than the time they were stopped, so that the number of people who were quote unquote duped would have reduced.
Well, I'll not be able
largely.
I'll not be able to say that they should have heard of it before the time that they came in. You and I were not there. You wouldn't know when they heard of it. So
right. But do you have a monitoring and evaluation team here? I'll come to your setup.
We have a risk management department. All the supervising department here, like fund management department, like the risk management department, like broker dealers department, like market and exchange department, and then also issuer department. They are all supervising department. They all monitor. So we don't have one monitoring
specific
department because all the departments I've mentioned have their sector that they operate. As I told you, there are a number of operators in the market. So one department take care of one section of the market operators, another department take care of another section of market operators. So all of them are on these market operators and monitoring them all the time.
I'll come to whether you have enough capacity or maybe staffing and finance and all of those things. But you have just come in and you mentioned reset. Of course, not only here at SEC, but the entire country. But for you here, do you have any specific agenda that you are going to pursue, at least for the time that you are here, if it's for 5 years, 10 years, that you want to be noted for at SEC? What changes, what new vision, what innovation should we be coming back to you to ask you of, or should we be measuring you on? That Honorable James Kluche Aveji moved away from PAC. We saw your impact at PAC, came to SEC, and we felt even a higher or a greater impact at SEC.
Look, the greatest achievement that I will live here with is to ensure that the mandate of the commission is achieved. And what is the mandate? I've said it earlier, that the commission is to regulate the market, okay, where the growth of the markets is ensured, where the investors are protected, so they don't have issues like Men's Gold are done. The integrity of the market is also protected. Once we achieve that, it means that the market will be a good market where for you to, as an investor, to do your business. The market will mobilize capital for the industry. What I mean the industry, for the growth of our country. Because the businesses depend on our market for the capital. the businesses depends
yes.
on the capital market.
I get it.
For the operation. So we have the long-term capital, then we have the short-term capital. Okay. Now, because we provide long-term capital through issue of shares, where you want to buy shares in company A, you have an idea that I'm putting that money there for the long-term future. So it's not money that you're putting there after 3 months, you're going back for the money.
Right.
So businesses take this money, use the money
to do their investments.
So I will achieve and leave a legacy here if the market is grown bigger, where businesses can just go and raise their capital from there.
But is the market even stable now?
The market is bouncing back.
Here in Ghana, is it stable?
Yeah, it's coming back. Because of the 2019 issue.
I asked the stability because of that. And I'm going to go on to ask about whether investors have confidence at all in the market, whether local investors, foreign investors want to play in the Ghanaian market, because they fear that you, the leaders, the politicians, the business, nobody can be trusted. You can get up one day and say that you have revoked licenses and so on and so forth.
You know what? You mentioned foreigners. The foreigners' interest has gone down drastically. Their participation in our market.
Since the 2019 financial sector cleanup.
It's still not good.
Because they don't trust us as a country.
Foreign capital. Which we think that they should do. But sometimes it will be better it will be more better if we raise capital from our domestic source internally.
Right.
So that one day, if for instance, if our market is dominated by 50% of foreigners, and the following day they all withdraw from the market,
it collapses.
It will have a proper negative effect on our industries. But if we have domestic source, which dominate the market, I'm not sure that Ghanaians one day will decide to withdraw everything. The impact will not be that great like if the foreigner want to withdraw. So the domestic source is bouncing back.
But it also went down.
It went down.
The confidence of local investors.
It went down drastically. But as 2024, it came up a little bit. And we hope this year it will improve upon that. So the confidence is bouncing back. Probably because, in a way, the decision taken by the previous government to put most of these investors under bailouts, where government took over
and bailed them
out. There's still a number of them who are still expecting government to pay. Let me just say this already, immediately. Out of the total 84,200 plus of investors who file under the bailout and make claims, those claims were vetted by PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Yes, PW.
And then agreed that yes, these people have genuine claims, and so government can go ahead and pay them under the bailouts. Out of these 84,000 plus, about 69,000 plus have been fully paid, which represent about 82% of the total number of people who have made a claim.
That's just about 13,200 people, institutes remaining, the applicants,
yes.
Let me put it that.
Now, but those people who have fully been paid now have confidence in the market. So they are still coming, they are coming back gradually to come and invest again. But the remaining are the people who still want their money.
Will you do that? Will you ensure that they are
paid?
paid?
The previous government promised to pay them 1.5 billion.
Yes.
Out of that 1.5 billion, 700 million was released at the first tranche. Second and the third or whatever, the remaining 800 has not been released. Then there was change of government.
Yes.
So we need to negotiate with the current government to agree that we will continue
to pay.
Not the balance left is not only 800. The balance 800 is the balance out of
the 1.5 billion promised.
So for me, it is no more a balance which we should be demanding from government. What we should be demanding from government is that the total amount of claim that has not been settled. Because the 1.5 was not going to settle everybody.
The 13,200 applicants remaining.
Exactly.
Yes. So
because what we left to settle is over 4 billion.
So that was what I was coming to. For the 13,200 applicants remaining, their settlement package totally amounts to
It's about 4.3 billion.
4.3 billion.
Yes.
And not the 1.5.
No.
The 1.5 was part payments.
What was left was about 5 billion. Then the government pledged to give 1.5.
Okay.
So that it will be left with 3.5.
Okay.
But
now you have 800.
Government released only 700 out of the 1.5.
Yes.
So in effect, 700, you have to deduct it from the 5 billion. Our study now is around
4.3 billion.
Yes. So this is what the current government is faced with. Unless government take a decision that I will not continue to pay the people. And that will have negative effect on the market. And I'm not sure the government will take that line.
This is for those who were severely affected by the financial sector cleanup in 2019. 2019,
53 companies who manage people's funds, their
fund management companies,
were revoked. Their licenses were revoked because of many, many issues. Now, because the licenses were revoked, they had to put these companies under liquidation. Okay, SEC did not have the power, or we still do not have the power, to go for liquidation directly. Because our current Act at 929 did not have a provision of that nature. So we have to go through Registrar of Companies, Office of Registrar of Companies. So the ORC went to court to seek permission from the court to liquidate those 53 companies, to realize the assets, and then use that asset to pay the people. Where the money will not be enough to pay everybody, government comes in. Now, out of these 53, some of the companies, about 4, went to court to challenge that decision. At the end, the court granted the Office of Registrar General 47 out of the 53. So those 47 companies who have been given the mandate, the money has been given to the Office of Registrar General to liquidate them, are the people who are put under the government bailout. Do you understand?
Yes, I get it.
Now, if you decide to go by that, it's still voluntary. If you decide to go, the government put you under bailout, then you apply. You will not apply to my office here because we do not have too much hand in the whole business. You apply to the PricewaterhouseCoopers, who will vet your application, the claim that you are submitting. They will vet it and be sure that what you are claiming that is the money you have with your company, a revoked licensed company, is true. Then once they do that, they will push the money to JCB Capital. JCB Capital is a fund manager or fund management company owned by JCB Bank. Then Minister of Finance decided to use that company as the conduit to pay the people.
Right.
So another fund was created called Amalgamated Fund, who will receive the money from government, and then when the claims are vetted by PwC, they will forward it to JCB Capital under that AM fund. Then they will pay the people through JCB Bank accounts. So that is what has been the process. So we at SEC are not directly involved in the process.
I'll ask you later on whether maybe the Act review and all of that to be able to give you those
yes, so
powers.
As part of the Capital Markets Master Plan, which is a strategy document that we are
working on
or using now. Part of it, one of the pillars, is the overhaul of the legal framework. So currently, we have just approved the final draft of the bill, which was done by a company called Seaway and then Bella. The full name of Bella. Benchi. Is it Lecha?
But I've seen yes, I've seen the
it's a law firm.
Right.
So they did the work. We've had training of our staff and even had training of the market operators on the draft bill. So we have seen that the bill, it's modernized, has given now the mandate to SEC to, in the event, which we don't want it to happen again, but in the event that there's going to be some kind of revocation or something of this nature, we will not go through the risk of companies again, but it will be done directly, like the way the Bank of Ghana did it for the banks. They did it through a receiver. So we also have a provision now in the bill. When it is passed, anything of that nature, we will have the mandate to liquidate that company.
Does it give you the power to control unlicensed investment schemes, like how Men's Gold started their round call with you, that they are not under you and so on and so forth? The review, the act, the bill.
If you are not licensed by us, you are not supposed to even do any business in the capital market. It is illegal for you to do anything like that. So once we get to know that this is what you're doing, we'll clamp on you immediately and make sure that you don't do that. And again, one area we also identify, which is also part of the bill, is public education, awareness, creation. We have also this year going to roll out a number of short videos, TV
programs and yes, adverts and so on and so forth.
To educate the public about the work of the commission.
That's what I asked earlier, because we need to know and be confident in the system that there is we have somebody with a hammer. If they mess up, they will knock their heads.
That it is very few people, especially those in the industry.
Exactly.
They, because they are mandated by law to work with us, they are the only people who know the industry. The greater majority of Ghanaians who invest their funds don't know the relevance and the importance of this office. So we're going to start public education, then to educate the public to know. And we encourage the public to take key interest in that, because if you have money, you want to put your money with somebody, make sure that that person is genuine to ensure that your fund can be managed well. Now, the new bill, when it's passed, also gives us the mandate to ensure that as we monitor you on regular basis, and you are not fulfilling or meeting the requirement of it, we have procedures to follow. That if we realize that you're having challenges with your company, we'll give you an advisor. Appoint an advisor to come and advise you. The advisor will come and sit in your management meetings, listen to the discussion, and then advise you on what you should do to revive your company.
At least when they begin going wayward, you'll be aware and you'll begin to crack the whip immediately.
That's the first step. When we do that, the advisor will sit down and advise him, and then probably they will not be even taking the advice. If they are not taking the advice and the situation continues, our next step is to appoint an administrator who will now come and take over and manage the company.
Right.
The first person is an advisor, only come and advise you, and you refuse to take his advice.
Then you appoint a manager to manage the company.
Who will call an administrator to come and sit down and take over and manage the company.
That's some refreshing news.
If this one too will not work, then we have come to the point now we will have to
close you down.
We have to liquidate your company. So we'll put it under receivership. Then we'll sell all the assets that you have. We'll pay off the people's money that you are holding or managing, and then in some order. And because it's a risk you are taking, there are others that will follow. Who is in terms of priority? Who is paid first? Who is paid second?
Right.
Who is paid last?
Right.
If the money is able to meet everybody's demands, so be it. But if not, whatever you reach, the rest you will not get anything.
Because you will have considered and gone through the processes, judiciously. It will not be so that we don't have a burden on taxpayers for us to pay tax and for it to be used to. When I come back, I'm going on a quick break. Kindly indulge me. When I come back, because we are talking about taxpayers, I'll be asking you the 4.3 billion that you are owing currently. You need to pay them. I'm going to ask you how you're going to do that and whether you've had engagements already with the Minister of Finance on any arrangement at all to be able to pay. Because some have been paid, and you also say that there is confidence coming back into the system, and so I'm sure it will add up. If you are watching us, we are privileged. I stated early on from the beginning of the interview that we are privileged this morning to be in the office of the Honorable James Kluche Aveji, former Member of Parliament for Ketu North, former Chairman of Park Committee, and now at SEC. We are delving into the issues and, of course, learning also what happens here. So if you are an investor, if you want to put your money anywhere at all, this interview is very good for you. You may want to catch it. We'll go on a quick break. When we are back, we'll get into some other discussions still at the SEC. Stay with us. Right, you welcome back from the break, and we are still here with the Honorable James Kluche Aveji. And I'll come back to the question. And then I mentioned when we were going on the break that when I come back, I'll ask you about your engagements with the Finance Minister, maybe going higher to His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. I'm sure he must be, or he may be interested in what happens with these investors. And so 4.3 billion owed investors currently. The promise of 1.5 billion, the entirety of it was not honored. Part of it was honored. However, to be able to satisfy everybody, as we say, 4.3. What's the plan, Honorable?
Yeah, thank you very much. I must say that for now, there is no budgetary allocation in the 2025 budget. I'm hopeful because I have to go back to see the minister. I'm hopeful that if there is an opportunity for a mid-year review or supplementary budget, then some provision can be made. It will not be the entire 4.5.
But obviously, yes.
Some provision can be made. But that is conditional.
But why was there no allocation? Did you table it? You were appointed in February?
Yes. No, I was appointed in January. But
January.
I presume on
in February.
3rd February.
Yes, and a budget was read on the 11th of March.
Yes.
Yeah, so there were some days at least. And I know the minister was engaging people. Yes. He engaged us, he engaged people in the market and so on. And so. Did you get the opportunity to table it?
I did. I tabled it before the minister. But at the time that I did that, the estimate that was before him was so tight that there was no space.
Right.
So we discussed it that, well, if it is not in this budget, let's hope that there will be a mid-year review that we can accommodate part of it. So I tabled it, but because of the tightness of the budget, no provision has been made. Don't forget that this is a decision that was taken by the previous government.
Exactly the point I was coming to.
The current government must take time to study it.
Right.
And then take a position. Also, you know that the first year after the election, the minister has a very short period
to put together a budget,
which doesn't make him give him time to sit down and have thorough discussion on issues. So me, I understood him when he told me that the budget is so tight. Let's consider it as we go into the year.
But does he have the will from your engagement with him to pay? Is it not the case that the government was maybe drastic or did not plan properly? Some, for example, in the banking sector, some people think there were other ways that the governor of the Bank of Ghana or even SEC could still do the cleanup and still get the system running. So maybe they didn't do it well, people are suffering this way, we can't just come in and begin to pay. I mean, we need to also concentrate on our plan. Is that the case? Or?
I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, the revocation of the licenses, even though the revocation were done by SEC, the decision was actually beyond
SEC. Okay.
It was a government decision. If SEC had taken that decision unilaterally, government wouldn't have come in and said, I'm putting the people under bailout. So it wasn't a decision taken by SEC to revoke those people's licenses, because the implication is high. As we speak now, there are firms that are under distress. Speak now. We know them. We're monitoring them. They themselves know that we know they are distressed. We are warning them all the time. What do we do with those people now? It will not be a decision that will be left for my office to take. It will be a decision that will go beyond this office. But you see, what I am observing is that, or I have observed is that, because in 2019, some company licenses were revoked and the people were pulled under government bailout, the directors and managers of those companies have gone scot-free.
That's a concern for all of us.
Scot-free, nothing has happened to them.
They haven't gone to court, nobody has prosecuted them, nothing.
Currently, some companies also are of the view that if I mismanage these funds, I use people's funds to do whatever I like, at the end,
I'll go scot-free.
SEC will revoke my license and I'll go scot-free.
And government will do a bailout.
Yes, that's what some of them are thinking. And I'm warning them. They should rethink. It's not going to be easy for you, for your license to be revoked, and you just be walking down the street of Accra free.
But I like the point you make. First of all, you would appoint an advisor.
Yes.
Secondly, you would appoint a manager, an administrator. And then when you maybe have to do what you don't like to do, to collapse, you collapse them, you are going to prosecute. Or you take them to court.
No, when we get to that point, you as a director, when we are doing the liquidation, we will not let you free. You have to come and explain why you should mismanage your company. Do you understand that?
Yes, I understand.
And at that point also, government will not go and put the people en bloc under bailouts. It's a risk we are taking. That is why we are even asking in the first instance that before you go to any firm, seek opinion of SEC or an advisor to advise you where to go. If you take that risk, don't say government will come and bail me out. Because the government money is our money. It's my tax money, it's your tax money. So I cannot be paying taxes. You mismanage your company, then I'll use the people's tax money to come and pay the investors and leave you, the one who mismanaged the company, free. Why should it be so? So those people whose firms are under distress, they should stay on.
I mean, those currently watching you.
I'm telling you,
yes.
Watching it, they should stay on. They should have plan to manage those companies.
Thank you.
Revive the company.
Thank you.
Pay the people's fund for them. It won't be the same stories again.
We'll prosecute, or we'll at least take them to court. And I'm happy about that. But do you think that we can still get back and maybe prosecute or take the people for those? I mean, people have gone through heart attacks. People have had strokes. People have died. We have evidence of some of these things. And like you're saying, some of these managers are working about, those who are able to hoard monies are working about freely. What's the thinking? I'm not saying you should go after them, but what's the thinking around?
If there's been a decision on that,
right?
It cannot be taken by me now because I'm alone now. I have my deputy now because we don't have our board in place yet.
Okay.
The board take major decisions for the running of the office. After the day-to-day running of the office, it's my duty and then my staff. It's the duty to do that. But decisions which are beyond management are taken by the board. And when it is beyond the board, it goes to government for final decision to be taken. So for now, what do we do to those directors who mismanage the companies and for whose companies the government had to be struggling now to pay the investors. What should be done to them is something that the board, when constituted, will have to discuss and come to a position.
Let me now move away from that. And one of the things which are coming up currently, and I mean, we have cause of concern, is the digital assets. That we had issues like when we have kept repeating men's gold, then the regulation of that space. And I'll quote you. You said the Securities and Exchange Commission is developing a regulatory framework for digital assets and derivatives as part of a broader plan to enhance the country's investment climate. I would ask what you mean by this. What are we expecting to see? We see, even on this show, we've hosted some Bitcoin managers and blockchain, let me say blockchain operators who are putting it all out that people should get on it and so on and so forth. And I mean, for your statement and from where you sit, what should we be expecting? What exactly are you considering?
Thank you very much. This is a very important question. I've said it some time back. That currently we have a task force here at the commission. The task force is working with a team from Bank of Ghana on how we can regulate the platform, the virtual assets providers platform. Because when we talk about this digital asset or a virtual asset, it's just an asset. It's a medium or mechanism where you store your assets. I said it the last time that, look, if I want to store my asset, there are many, many ways to store my asset. I can go and buy gold bar. The value today will not be the same value a year after. So I buy the bar, send it to my bankers, and for safekeeping. Okay. After 2 or 5 years, I go back with my bar to sell in the market. I make what? Gains. Because the value today might be, let's say, $3,000. But in 5 years' time, it could be $10,000. I have made $7,000 as a return on that value, the asset that I have kept in that fund. In the same way, you want to store your money in crypto or virtual assets. The value of this will just be like the value of the gold bar, which fluctuates as the days go by. But after a long period of time, the value will not be the same as I bought it to. So there are two things that happen here. At the time that I bought it, I store it. At the time that I'm going to dispose of it, there's some
maturity level.
No, there is some gains that
you have made. Yes.
At that point, government will have to look at that gain you're making, which is capital gain. Because if you put up a building today, 10 years time you want to sell that building, you make
a lot of
you make capital gain. Government have to tax.
Okay.
Capital gain tax.
Yes.
The same way, if I put my money in crypto, and then after 2, 3, 4 years, I'm going to sell that money, the gain I'm making there, government must also take some tax on that. But because we are not regulating it, people are just getting capital gain tax without paying tax to government. So it is a way to go now. That look, whether we like it or not, everything becoming digital. And it is good that we begin now to do. Nigeria, as far as they have revised their industry act, Securities and Industry Act, and then they've started regulating the crypto platform. So our task force here, that of Bank of Ghana, is working around the clock to see how do we regulate it? How do we ensure that a company or a provider, the virtual asset provider, create a platform upon which all those people in the crypto industry market can do their business. It's not going to be one, it's not going to be two, it could be many platforms which will be licensed by us so that we'll monitor and see what is the gains people are making on daily basis, who is disposing of his assets, and then what is the gain, what is the portion that government must take in the form of tax. So it is a way to go. We are working seriously. By the close of the year, we should be able to reach an advanced stage to ensure that we will put up a system in place to ensure that we monitor and regulate the crypto industry.
So by the end of this year, there is going to be...
No, I'm not saying that by the end of this year
we'll hit the final
we should
point.
reach an advanced stage. Because it's a process that is going through. As I said, Nigeria is doing it. South Africa is also regulating it. And so if we don't want to delay, probably it will be taken by events. So it's better we start. So it's good that we have started and then work is ongoing now. What because I'm still using my staff here as a task force, probably what we need to do is to ensure that we get a dedicated staff who will not be doing any other thing, but dedicated staff for that.
You're understaffed.
I am highly understaffed.
You don't have money too.
Highly understaffed. We are not on government subvention. We pay our workers through our IGF. And what constitutes our IGF? Our IGF is a license fee that we charge
from
our market operations. The market operation levy and some minor things. And it is those things that survives my office. So for the building in which we are doing this interview, you could see from outside that it's a prefab, which was supposed to last for 5 years. But it's now, they're using it for more than 15, 16 years.
Wow.
And sometimes, I'm told last week I was not here, when it was raining,
yes,
the whole building was like...
It can collapse any time.
It can collapse at any time. So we need money to have a permanent office space.
Your industry players, and there is one statement from, because you're on air, may not be quote there, from one of your industry players who thinks that you're the most under-sourced, under-resourced regulator in the entire financial sector.
It is true. It is true. We have 4 regulators in Ghana. Bank of Ghana. Bank of Ghana regulates the banks and then deposit-taking institutions. We also have the Insurance Commission. They also regulate the insurance industry.
Yes.
We have the MPRA, National Pension Regulatory Authority. They regulate the pension fund. And then Securities and Exchange Commission, we regulate the capital market. Now, among the 4 of us, we are the least resource regulator. Simply because our source of revenue is limited to what I've just mentioned: licensing fee, renewal.
Should government not add something up? Maybe a levy or...
But there is one source of revenue which was started in early 2017 but was stopped. In 2016, when we were passing this law, the current law, it was identified that all funds under management, all funds that is being managed, the Commission shall levy those funds, just a small token.
Yes.
To help operate the office. Now, if this fund levy is allowed,
yes,
SEC doesn't need government to support the operations of the office.
So, like we cited the example, if I am investing 100,000 through Stanbic, GT, CBG, wherever, to buy T-bills, and I'm going to make gains on the T-bills, there is a small levy somewhere that I have to pay to you, so that you can help regulate and protect my investment.
Exactly. Because we regulate that firm which is managing your fund for you, we regulate and ensure that they do the right thing. Don't forget, if we don't regulate them, they can run away with your money.
Exactly. The entire 100,000 can go.
So why don't you pay 1%, 0.1%? In fact, we are actually requesting for only 0.1%.
But why was it stopped?
Well, when we passed the law in 2016, and 2017, the first quarter, it was collected. The levy was collected on funds and money, including pension funds. Don't forget that in 2016, my party was in power.
Yes.
And fortunately, I was the chairman of the finance committee. So I was in charge of this law. I moved all the motions in parliament for all considerations, everything. But when the NEC lost power in 2016 and MPP came to power, first quarter, this office charged the levy on funds under management. Or we can also call it asset under management.
Right.
Then in second quarter, Overiata came to parliament with these nuisance taxes. If you remember, the taxes, they are nuisance. And that levy is one.
Okay.
The levy on
that day. 2017 March budget reading. Yes, I remember.
Friday free na ye de bedientia. Empene say they are funugia near Diane Pintin Bia to Penesia Darme. Na si ebedio, ebenya biavio, and I'm a criafoso. That's a camera so by a memoir. A criafo, I have what people was you never to catch it. Yanny a breast and 50 more